Muy buenas, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a esta entrevista con el presidente del Club Deportivo Castellón, Voulgaris, con las preguntas de la afición, las preguntas que habéis dejado vosotros mismos en la cuenta de X del Club Deportivo Castellón. Y para ello contaremos con la ayuda también de mi compañero Kiko Felguera, que estará con nosotros haciendo las preguntas que vosotros habéis dejado. ¿Qué tal, Kiko?
¿Qué tal? Bueno, él es Marc Guidotti que nos ha presentado y nada, deseando abrir este nuevo espacio de interacción, de darle un pequeño cambio al tema digital, multimedia, audiovisual del Club Deportivo Castellón, con nuevas cosas que van a venir en las próximas semanas y también pues agradecer a Micrea su implicación en este primer capítulo o este capítulo cero, vamos a llamarle así, de esta entrevista con Voulgaris. Así que nada, vamos allá, han sido muchas, así que muchas gracias a todos por vuestra implicación. Nada, vamos a empezar.
Obviamente no podemos leer todas las preguntas, ha habido cientos de preguntas en la cuenta de X del club, así que hemos tenido que hacer una selección. Así que nada, lo primero, Bob, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien, también. ¿Preparado?
Yes, very preparado.
Vale, pues empezaremos con la primera pregunta de Rafa, que pregunta que cómo es su vida desde que compró el Castellón y si se siente querido aquí en la ciudad y en el club.
Life has been good. I think a lot more busy, but more interesting also. There's always something to look forward to each week for another game, another chance to watch your team play, another chance to get better. Do I feel loved by the city and the club? I don't really think about it, to be honest. I feel like when I meet people in person, they're very appreciative, and I like that a lot. And so, yeah, it feels good to be a part of something, and I feel like the club is a part of the city, and so being a part of that is it feels good.
¿Cómo vas con el español, con el idioma castellano? ¿Progresas?
Muy malo. Ya hablo muy malo. Muy malo.
Y sobre el fútbol español, ¿qué piensas sobre el fútbol español?
I think football in Spain is a really beautiful game. I think part of what makes it so beautiful is the passion from the fans. I think the fans are a big part of it. I think the history of the sport in Spain is a big part of it. I think visiting all the different regions and playing in A Coruña or playing in the south of Spain is interesting, Basque Country. So I think La Liga 2 specifically is the best second division in the world. And so, in my opinion, so I love Spanish football. Yeah.
Nos pregunta Josefus que ¿sigues otras ligas europeas o simplemente te centras en el Castellón?
Yeah, I follow football all around the world, to be honest. Not as closely as I follow Spanish football. I think, especially this year, we placed more of a focus on third division Spain because our data for third division Spain was quite good, and we felt like the players in third division, I feel like last year especially, proved that our players who had only ever played in third division did a good job in the second division, and so we primarily focus in Spain because it's nice to get Spanish players, but the world is a very, very big place, and you're always looking to find players from all over that can play.
Ha cerrado ahora recientemente el mercado de fichajes y Manu Tebol te pregunta que si a la hora de fichar de ligas extranjeras, ¿cómo ponderáis el nivel de la liga del que proviene el jugador para ver qué está al nivel de la competición de la segunda división española?
Who asked that question?
Manu Tebol.
Manu Tebol, okay. No, I mean, I think look, you can have players who are much, much better than players in La Liga 2 who are playing in a much, much worse league. That's definitely possible. You always have to, I think, evaluate effectively the league and context that a player is playing in. But yeah, you assess it by looking at data, by having an opinion, and then constantly improving your data models to see if your models are accurate or not.
Jorge San Cristóbal nos pregunta respecto al tema Cala. La intención del club fue retener a Cala y si fruto de eso fue su renovación.
Was the club's intention always to keep it? No, I think the end of the day, like what we're learning a little bit about our team is we have an idea of what we think a player is worth in terms of if you're going to put a value on a player in terms of a transfer market value or in terms of a transfer value, I should say. So for us, the intention was certainly always to keep him, for at least the release clause, because we think he is much more valuable than that. So our intention was always to try to sign him and renew his contract. But at the end of the day, the player also has interest from other clubs, and if they meet the release clause, you have to let them go. there's not much you can do about it. But our process is basically to try to determine what we think a player is worth and try never to sell a player for less than that, unless we think we can make a sale of one player and use that money to sign another player that we think might be undervalued. Because the way it works is you can only sign players when you have money to spend under the squad cost limit. So if selling a player for a little bit less than what we think he's worth means we can get a player who we think is worth more than what we pay for him, we will do it. But Kala, the intention was always to try to have him stay, if we could.
Y hablando de otro nombre propio, esta pregunta se ha repetido bastante. Nos preguntan si hay alguna opción de la vuelta de Thomas van de Belt en el mercado de invierno, si es viable económicamente.
It's not economically possible, I would say, just based on what he sold for in the summer. But there's always a chance. You never know. I mean, we like the player. We think he's good. He had very good results with us. He was a very, very important player for us. I think that anything is possible, but it's difficult to the amount of money that was spent on him. For us, we think that's a difficult position to spend a lot of money on. You have to make sure that the player is really, really top, and you have extra money available. So it's possible, but it's not someone that we're like, actively trying to fit onto our roster right now. But maybe, you never know.
Otro nombre propio, Paco Alcácer, nos comentan, está sin equipo y es un buen delantero ya que nos hace falta pegada arriba. Nos pregunta Manolo Pegueroles si ha pensado en realizar una oferta por él.
For Paco Alcácer? Yeah, he's a good striker. We are always looking at players that we think can help the team for sure. We think we signed a pretty good striker in Adam. So we're not really looking to add another one at a certain price point. But if the player we think is valued at a level we can afford and he fits into our team, yeah, possible. Definitely possible.
Diego nos pregunta si realmente tan necesario es un delantero, llegando con 8 o 9 jugadores siempre a área rival.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting question. I think a lot of people are really, really hard on strikers. Of course, you have a certain amount of money you can spend, and for the most part, strikers are the most expensive players in this league. You look at the 2 best strikers from last season. The league last year probably only had, let's say, 2, maybe 3 or 4 top strikers. Top 2 strikers, one sold for 22 million in Suarez, was bought for 8 or 9 before that, and the other one was a loan, Panicelli. My point is if our total budget on all players is around 10 or 11 million, it's impossible for us to sign a striker for 8 or 9 million. The people who ask these questions, I think, are a little bit unaware of the financial realities of La Liga 2 football, especially with our club. We don't have a big budget. So do we really need, of course we need someone who can score goals. You need to score goals in football, but there's lots of different ways you can score goals. And sometimes you have to spread the money around and try to make the best possible team, not sign the best possible one player, because at the end of the day, if we had a top striker at 8 or 9 million that we spent on a transfer and then amortized it out over the length of his contract, we'd still at the end of the day need someone to feed him the ball. Yeah. And it would be very difficult to build that type of team. So.
Pedro 1922 nos pregunta si te arrepientes en algún momento de haber destituido a Dick.
No, I don't. I think it was a tough decision. I think he's a good coach, but for me, for many different reasons, I don't regret it at all.
Después también si se ha planteado, castellonizar más la plantilla con jugadores de aquí, de la zona, y que sea más identitarios para la afición.
What are the Castellon colors?
Black and white.
Okay. So we want more black and white?
No, I mean...
The region, but
yeah.
The region has colors, yeah?
No, it's from the...
It says here, it's identity with our region and our colors. So what is our colors of the region?
No, he made that question like that. I mean...
No, but maybe like the flag or something, yellow?
No.
You think he means black and white?
Yeah. I mean, I think he's only want to say that the same identity with... He mixed the identity, the region, and the colors, I think.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but yeah. I don't. Have I ever considered making the squad a bit more Castellon based? You mean signing more? Look, we'd love to sign Castellon players. The best player to come out of Castellon was David Cubillas, and he's playing in the 3rd division now. He probably at this stage in his career is not at the level of the second division, I think, if we're being honest. But if there's another young player and all things being equal, he's from Castellón and we have another player we can sign from a different part of the world, of course we will pick the Castellón player. But right now, we're trying to build the academy, we're trying to build the sports facility, we're trying to grow the club and grow the region and have our best players from the Castellón area want to play in Castellón. And I think we haven't achieved that yet as a goal, as a team. As far as the colors, I don't know what that means, but maybe, yeah. I know we can't use blue. I know we have the Valencian flag is like yellow and red and blue, right? People don't like the blue. Is that true? That's too bad because that's a beautiful, that could be a third uniform next year. But I was told blue is not allowed, that flag. So I got no when I said I wanted to remake a uniform based on this flag. They said no. No blue.
I understand.
Okay. So.
Cambiando un poco de tercio y pasando un poco también a tu experiencia profesional, ¿cuál es la principal diferencia en la forma de negociar con agentes y clubes entre Estados Unidos o Canadá versus Europa? Nos pregunta Darklo.
In terms of for football only, I don't think there's much difference. I don't think. I think if you're comparing across different sports, it's very different because in America, agents have a certain cap on what commission they can earn. And in Spain, it can go as high as 10%. And Europe, not just Spain, Europe, 10% of transfer value of what you trade the player, or sell the player for, buy the player, etc. So of course the agents are incentivized to push players to leave teams all the time because they make money. That doesn't happen in the NBA, for instance. So that's the main difference. Aside from that, there's not that many differences, I would say. That's the big one.
Y más o menos una pregunta muy similar, ¿qué es más difícil manejar y de dirigir en la NBA o en el fútbol?
I never managed an NBA team, so I don't know, but I will say just in general, football is much, much more complicated. Just for starters, you have way more players playing. In the NBA, you have 5 players, of which you need 2 really, really good ones. In the NBA, every team is allowed to spend as much money as the other team. It's not like one team can spend more than another. So in Spanish football, that's not the case. Our first year in the league, we were at around $5 million we could spend on players total, our squad cost limit, because if you remove the coaching and the travel and this and that, just on player contracts, it was around $5 million. And we were competing with a team that I think spent $8 million just on a goalkeeper that year. So, quite challenging.
De Pinfloppy viene esta. ¿Cómo de satisfecho está con la evolución del club y del proyecto?
How satisfied? I am satisfied in a lot of ways and maybe dissatisfied in some ways too. I think I'm very satisfied with the progress we've made in terms of where we came from when we got here, but I always want more. I have very, very high standards on myself and the club, and so I expect a lot from myself. I expect a lot from the club, I expect a lot from the players, I expect a lot from everyone who comes to work for the club. So you're satisfied, but you should never be satisfied until, not in this type of business. You should always want a little bit more, ask a little bit more of yourself. So yeah, we can do better, and we will do better, because that's kind of the whole way of going through life and having success is by always trying to get better. So somewhat satisfied, how about that? Proud of what we've accomplished in so little time. But not satisfied.
Cambiando un poco también de tema, y bueno, sabemos que al presidente le gusta estar muy activo en las redes sociales, y también nos pregunta Pinfloppy si tiene algún tipo de influencia en él las opiniones en redes sociales.
They have no influence on me, but I think they're ridiculous. Like, if I'm being honest, I think some people on social media are a disgrace. I think some people in the stadium are a disgrace. If I'm being honest, yeah? But in terms of influence on me, do I get upset about it? Does it last for more than 5 seconds? No. But it's some people need to do better. They need to be better human beings, I think. And so the people who are being disgraceful on social media, they need to go out and find God or touch grass or do something, because it's no way to go through life.
Inma Falcó, más o menos relacionado con este tema, nos pregunta que qué puede hacer los propios aficionados para mejorar su apoyo a los jugadores y a la plantilla.
I think we have great supporters. How they could improve? I mean, we don't really ask for very much more because they're already doing so much. We have great fans. For the most part, everyone at the stadium is very, very positive. People love the club. They support the club. They try to come out to games. It's very challenging because sometimes you don't even know when our away games are going to be, so you can't plan a trip to cancel work. You don't know what day of the week we're playing until later on in the week. Sometimes we play on a Friday. Sometimes we can't ask for more from people who are trying to live their life. The football club is not their center of their activity of life. So the most important thing is for them to spend time with their family and to do things that are important to them. And then when they have time to support the club, they do. And so I appreciate that. I would say the only thing they could do to improve their support would just, I'm noticing in Castellón, the people are a little bit panicky. I would say there's a lot of panic. It's a new word that came out called panicans. We have a lot of panicans. And I would say, like, just relax with the panic, because you can't go through life panicking. You just have to chill, you know? You shouldn't be happy with shit results. Hey, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, let's try to panic 10, 15, maybe 85% less than we panic right now.
Has tomado muchas decisiones desde julio del 2022, desde tu llegada aquí. ¿Cuál ha sido la que crees que ha sido la mejor, la peor, y si ha habido alguna que te ha costado más que otra?
Is this the most difficult decision one?
Sí.
The easiest decision was probably... the easiest decision was probably signing Dick. This was an easy decision for me. The hardest decision, even though I don't have any regret, was probably firing Dick. So it's it's like the people who, you know, the easiest decision for me was hiring Dick. Everyone thought we were a joke for hiring him. A lot of people were like, "Who is this guy? He has no experience in the category. Doesn't know how to play the field. What is this? How could they do this? This is crazy. This is crazy." This was an easy decision for me. Like, we really wanted to sign this guy. The most difficult decision was realizing that it wasn't going to work long term, and making the decision to move on. So.
Nos pregunta José Gastón si sigue con ganas de llevar al club a lo más alto posible, entendiendo la mala educación y toxicidad que en ocasiones hay en X, antiguo Twitter.
I have to be careful because I know sarcasm doesn't translate very well in Spain. So my answer was going to be, I'm trying to sell the team as soon as possible, but then I realized someone at the Mediterranean will write an article with this part. So no, it hasn't changed anything at all. I want to take the club to the highest level. I think the one thing I will say that I've never really expressed to anyone, but it's the truth, is that I'm not doing this for the people who complain and do bad. I don't give a fuck what they think. So for me, it doesn't impact me in any way. Despite how toxic and rude some people are, I can assure you the players aren't playing for those types of people. I'm not working hard for those types of people. I don't care for those types of people. I really don't care. So it's not impacting me in any way. And I also want to say they're in the very, very small minority. The majority, massive majority of the fans, even the ones who tend to panic a little bit sometimes, are all very, very positive and supportive, and great supporters. And we love them and appreciate them a lot. And we spend so much time thinking about these people who really, or talking about these people who we shouldn't even give but a moment's notice.
Y bueno, siguiendo más o menos con este tema, Enrique nos pregunta que qué mensaje quiere transmitir a la afición, a esa parte de la afición que, como tú llamas, está en pánico. ¿Qué mensaje les transmitirías a ese tipo de gente?
No, I think what people need to realize is that I wake up every day thinking about how I can do better. I go to sleep at night, not always the last thought, but I think about this a lot. I work hard, and everybody who's here is doing similar. And the ones who aren't here doing that, they won't be here for long. In other words, everyone is trying to get better. And so I would just tell people I'm not someone who gives up easily. I'm not someone I'm very confident. I feel like I've done very well in my life. I started out as a skycap baggage handler at the airport when I was 20 something years old. Okay. And I didn't get to where I am by, losing hope or just giving up or not believing in myself. Like, this language doesn't even exist to me. So what would I say is just, I don't know. It's a long season, by the way. I mean, we're 4 games in, 5. It's not a lot. We're on week 5. Week 5, is that right? Yeah. I mean, come on. Let's be real here. It's if we score one of these goals here and there, the discussion is completely different. That being said, as much as we have been unlucky in some games, or maybe we can be better for sure. We can do so much better, and so that's what I'm focused on: is what little things we can do to improve. And the Cope's alive would be believe in that, I guess. I don't know, or don't.
Sí, decisión.
Yeah, it's your life. Choose to do what you want to do with your life. It's okay. I'm happy with that.
Y bueno, ¿qué es lo que más le gusta a Bob Voulgaris de la ciudad, del club y de la afición del Castellón?
I like how passionate they are. I like how they... what I like, honestly, is I like driving to the stadium on the day of the game and seeing all the people wearing the black and white. That makes me really proud. Seeing little kids in black and white makes me really proud. So that's what I love a lot, is how much of the club's culture is embedded in the DNA of the city and the people. I love that. What I like least is what we talked about before, just the panicking. And we have some fans who have said some very, very awful things in games, and we've actually banned, I think, 2 players now for saying hurtful or racist things in the game, and that stuff has zero tolerance. Zero. So those people are bye. But aside from that, there's very few and far between.
Nos pregunta también Jorge Cochran, ¿en qué porcentaje te sientes identificado con el club entre negocio y sentimiento de poder hacer algo grande en una ciudad como Castellón?
I identify a lot with the club. I think that I am in charge of the club, so I'm responsible for the club, and so because of that, it's formed a big part of my identity. I take pride in that. Between the business part of it, look, it's not a great business. That much is clear. But it's not a bad business either. You everything you invest, you get something out of it. So you're spending money on infrastructure, the stadium improvements that we hope to make in the future, or this training facility, etc. But yeah, I identify a lot, and it would feel great to be able to. I mean, look, one of the best days of my life was when we got promoted. So I hope to have another one of the best days of my life be when we get promoted again. I don't know.
Y bueno, ¿cómo podemos acabar con esta toxicidad? Pregunta Diego, que tiene mucha gente que dice ser aficionada del club.
I think this is just easy. I think people just have to try to be good, like try to do better. Just be a good person. Like, don't say something to someone online that you wouldn't say to them to their face.
In person.
Yeah, like that's a very simple rule in life. And also, just think about like, who are you even? Like, what
you do in your life.
Yeah, like the level of expertise these people think they have about football is insane. Like it's one of the beautiful things about sport is how people identify with it, and they want to watch the game and they want to give their feedback. But come on, like some of the things I read I don't read a lot of it, but every once in a while I'll see something in my mentions and I'll look at it and I'll just be like, who are you and where did you come from? And how could you be following this team so closely and have such little idea of how the game of football works in some ways? Like players not even in the right position on the wrong side. Like, oh, this guy should be starting, but he's a left winger, but we should be playing right back or something. Like there's just a lot of people who are very, very passionate, and I appreciate that. But yeah, there's no place for toxicity. Take it someplace else, I think. Like it's just doesn't do you any good. It's not a good way to go through life. And maybe get a dog. I don't know. It can help you a lot. Go for a run, touch grass. I don't know. Yeah, pray.
Yeah, in Spain,
anything.
In Spain, we say to the people who is todólogo.
What that?
Todólogo is like a people who knows about every topic. He knows about football. He knows about politics.
Yes. Well, I mean, and that's very common. I mean, I've definitely had a situation where I've thought I've known more about something. I've become like a politics expert in my life as well, and it's normal. It's a normal human reaction, I think, to always want to think you know something that you do. But and that's okay. But at some point, you have to take a step back and breathe and realize, like, I don't really know what I'm talking about here, and have a little humility, I think is the word we're looking for.
Pregunta Diego García, un poco relacionado también con el pánico, que es una de las palabras que hemos destacado antes, que si crees que la gente debería de valorar más lo que se está haciendo en el proyecto y no entrar en pánico solamente por tener un punto, quedando aún 38 jornadas de liga.
Yeah, on the one hand, like we said, panicking is not great. There are still 38 games left to play. But having 1 point is not good either. And so, like we talked about before, you just have to try to get better. Try to look at what you're doing, your process, how you can improve it, what sorts of support I can give to the training staff, the manager, etc., so they can do their jobs better. And yeah, at some point, it's not realistic to panic. But at some point, you also have to be realistic about the results. I don't think we're at the point yet where the results are indicative of a lot, but there is some signal there, and so we have to get better. So I would say, yeah, What people should appreciate me more? I don't know. Whatever. They can do whatever they want. I don't really care, to be honest. I really don't. It's always good to go through life being appreciative. I try to be appreciative to everyone I encounter. So yeah, it can't hurt to be appreciative. But towards me, maybe start with your wife or husband, depending on if you're married, or father or whatever first. Yeah. I don't need your appreciation. That's what I'm getting at.
Bueno, cambiando un poco también de tema, nos pregunta Héctor si has pensado la posibilidad de incluir a un psicólogo en el apartado deportivo.
Yeah, I think it's a good question, Hector Macian. Yeah, it's a good question. I think you just have to find the right person. I've talked to a few different people about this. It's an important role, but it has to be the right person because that person has so much impact on the club and so you have to make sure it's. But yeah, it's a good thought, and if I had the right person, he would be here already. So.
Nos pregunta Sergio también cómo es tu día a día con el staff técnico.
My daily routine. I mean, I don't have a daily routine because I try to let people do their jobs for the most part. I do communicate with the manager and have discussions. I try to have feedback from the people how I can help them do their job better, give them access to more information. I like to watch the trainings. I like to sit in some of the film sessions, but I kind of am more of a hands-off observer with small one-on-one conversations with people, I would say would be my role.
Hablando sobre el estadio, el Sky-Fi Castalia, nos pregunta Celandorinsi Oreyud si tiene pensado hacer un lavado de cara al estadio como con una mano de pintura o algo así, por ejemplo.
Yes, definitely. I think the stadium could certainly use some paint for starters. We have what is the thing called? The apple that the mayor proposed?
Sí, manzana negra.
Yeah, we're waiting for her to finalize her plan for this because this is our responsibility. We will do it. Yeah, I think so. Just stay tuned. I guess it's bit by bit. Right now, the most important thing we're trying to do is build this facility out here, the training center. And then after that, we will focus on what we can do at Castalia.
Otra pregunta recurrente suele ser la ampliación del Sky-Fi Castalia. Nos pregunta Mabil Marcanic ¿qué cupo de socios en lista de espera generaría un aumento de las localidades en el Sky-Fi Castalia y qué modelo de estadio sería el más viable debido a su ubicación actual?
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. I have to look at that a little bit more closely, I think. I think ideally we'd like to have more people show up to the games now and figure out a way to grant access to the people who want to come who can't come, and have the people who cannot come and have tickets figure out how to get other people there. But there's several realities. There's the Friday matches, the Monday matches are a big portion of our schedule, and we've yet to have a game where we sold out or even had. So we have to think about this. So the number one thing should be how can we get more people to come to our games? And so that's what we have to think about. And if it means having a bigger waiting list or something like this, then let's do that first. In terms of adding more seats, I won't even entertain that until we get to more people at the games.
Otra pregunta sobre el Sky-Fi Castalia es si cuándo se tendrá la U televisiva en el estadio.
I think soon, no?
Sí, I think soon.
Yeah, I think like a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something. So yeah,
maybe.
Soon.
Sí.
I've never heard anyone be so excited to see more advertising in their life. But hey, if you're excited for advertising, hey, it's coming soon. Yeah. Perfect.
Mariano Gracia nos pregunta si nos puede desvelar qué planes tiene para un inminente futuro y para un medio largo plazo.
My plans for outside of sport?
Yeah.
Like nobody's business what my plans are outside of sport, yeah? No, I have plans, but it's not something I'm looking to answer in a Q&A. Immediate future for the team, I think we just maintain the category, fight for playoff spot, get promoted. Those are the immediate plans in the immediate future.
Y hablando del futuro inmediato, ¿cuál sería la predicción de Bob Voulgaris para esta temporada?
Where will we predict? Where will we finish?
Sí.
I don't know. Higher than most people think we will. How about that?
Juana nos pregunta ¿cómo te gustaría ser recordado?
How old am I? I'm only 50. I don't want to be planning my group how I'm going to be remembered. I'm not. How would I want to? Maybe when I'm 75 or I have a terminal illness, we can answer questions like this. But for now, no.
It's okay.
Yeah, we're skipping that one. None.
Muy bien. Y sobre la siguiente temporada es una pregunta también que se ha hecho mucho esta pretemporada, es si va a poder haber un partido de presentación en el Sky-Fi Castalia y también si es posible hacer un entrenamiento a puertas abiertas en Navidad.
For Christmas? And organize an open training session for Christmas? I like this guy, but he needs to ask for better. If I was Santa, I would be very happy to give you this one. You should ask for more important things than just an open training session. But yeah, sure. I think so. Why not? A team presentation match. I don't know what a team presentation match at Castalia is. What does that mean?
I mean, a friendly match.
Against who?
Against who you want. I mean.
No, that probably won't happen. But we can definitely organize an open training session at some point. Definitely. Yeah, maybe.
Juanpa nos pregunta que después de la experiencia de estos últimos años, ya conociendo un poco cómo funciona Castellón y el fútbol español, si le parece más fácil o difícil conseguir los objetivos que se marca el club.
I think it's hard in the sense that I never had any doubt that we were going to get promoted in the third. Like it was just apparent that we were going to get promoted. It was very easy. It seems like things were a lot easier. You know, the first year we almost got promoted. Yeah, second year we got promoted. Whereas here but we're only one season in La Liga 2 and we were fighting for relegation, which I didn't expect. So I guess it's harder in some ways. But look, we are making good progress. People need to believe that. We have a very, very, very top roster. I know some people don't see that for whatever reason, but I am super confident in the roster, not just for now, but also the future. We have very good young players who could be starters in this league already, and yet, like Tincho, for instance, is a player we just added. He's young. He's having trouble finding minutes. This is a top young player. Lucas, same thing. They both play the same position. Like we could go on and on and on with young players. We have a very, very good young team set up for the future, and we have a very, very good team right now for the present. But we just have to prove it on the pitch. So, yeah, I don't know. Not harder, but it wasn't as... So I guess harder, but it's not that hard. It's kind of how things are going, I guess. It's just people just have to be patient for not even a month into the season. So.
Yeah. Arturo pregunta directamente que en cuántos años piensa el presidente que vamos a conseguir el ascenso a Primera División.
I think in the beginning we said 6 years to get to La Liga. We have 3 years, including this year. Is that right? Or 4? We have. This will be what, the 4th year? How many years?
This will be the 4th one.
Oof. It's about 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 3 years.
3 years more.
So 3 years, including this year. Yeah, we'll be fine. Same.
Good.
Yeah.
Manolo consulta que si se está cumpliendo la hoja de ruta según lo previsto y qué sucedería en caso de un descenso a la primera red.
What would happen in the event of a relegation?
Yes.
We would get relegated and we'd have to go back up. That's what happens, right? But is the roadmap being followed? Yeah. I mean, look, the part of the roadmap is you're always making changes. You're always weaving and doing different things. I'm not worried about what would happen if we had a setback. If we have a setback, this is a gritty city. I'm a gritty person. I've had many setbacks in my life, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on where we are now, which is in the league, and what we need to do to achieve the next step. Not think about what happens if we. Yeah.
Y ya la última para acabar, Alberto nos pregunta que en qué beneficia al club vender a sus mejores activos para reinvertirlos en nuevos jugadores que son una incógnita.
How does it benefit? It benefits the club immensely. Let's just start with all of our best assets that we sold. Nobody had a clue who they were when we bought them, or how good they were. So this is something, and maybe from this particular person, Alberto, maybe he's not implying this, but like I find these types of questions interesting. Like, how does it benefit a club to sell its best assets? Well, because then you find other players and you create a snowball effect where it builds and builds and builds. But like, if you look at every player let's say our top players at the end of last year, they were Raul, Calatrava, Suero, Alberto. Those are probably Gonzalo. Those are probably our top players. Let's say maybe we had a couple other ones that we're missing out on, but those are the ones that everyone was, oof, right? When we signed Raul came here, he didn't have a good first year.
Yeah.
Raul we didn't even want to sell, but he had a low release clause because he was the first player that I signed, and we were forced to have a low release clause because nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
They just knew I was some crazy person on Twitter who direct messaged him to come to my team.
Yeah.
I will post it later, but I have the message I sent him.
I read that you say this.
Yeah, we can make it a story because it's funny. But yeah, nobody knows who these players were, but now they're so sure that we've sold them for players who are not good anymore, or not as good, when they thought the players we signed. Remember, people were laughing at Suero because he came from the 3rd division of Germany. So how does it benefit? It benefits because it allows us to retain our best players. We would not have been able to retain Calatrava if we didn't sell Daijiro and Joshua, or loan out Joshua or Raul. So yeah, it benefits because that's the model. That's basically the model we have, is finding players whose performance is unknown, who we think we know more about them than everyone else. We invest in them, we develop them, they move up to a higher league either with us or with another team, or we sell them for money. And it's a great model. I recommend it to everybody. I think selling players for more than you think they're worth, to buy players who for less money than you think they're worth, this is finance 101. So yeah, it benefits the club. Just have a little patience.
Bueno, pues hasta aquí hemos llegado. Estas han sido las preguntas que hemos podido rescatar de las cientos de preguntas que habíais dejado. Espero que el presidente Bob hayas estado a gusto, cómodo, y que, bueno, esto era una iniciativa suya de contestar directamente las preguntas que dejarais vosotros. Así que nada, también muchas gracias a Kiko por haber venido.
Gracias a Bob por prestarse a pasar un ratito con todos, porque al final estamos nosotros dos, pero son las preguntas de todos los albinegros. Nada, deseando más iniciativas de estas que seguro que os van a gustar.
Muchas gracias.
How often are we doing this? Once a week or once a month?
Once a month, maybe, ¿no?
Yeah, maybe once every 3 months. Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Gracias.
Okay.
Thank you.